Hello everybody, this is Gabriel. So this is a top-down analysis for the coming week here on the forex market. At the end of that, I'm adding a top-down analysis of the cryptocurrency market, like the macro cap cryptos. Let's start here with the euro dollar. So as I had mentioned in an earlier post, that this line here, the red line in the euro dollar 240 is an important level. We actually need a bar close below it. It didn't occur here with that bar. I thought that would happen, but there was a rejection, and there was another move higher, testing actually the 200 moving average. So now here during the last couple of days, you actually saw that the dollar was getting very strong against the euro. We actually saw this bar close below this important red line. Well, I found support at the week low, so we basically have now a double bottom. And I'm stalking this level very closely. So if price moves, if there's a bar close below this level, well, that's for me actually the starting signal for that this sideways range on the weekly is finished, which took about 6 months. And we see a similar sideways range for other cross currencies. So this is for me the starting signal, a close below this level, that we might actually start and move much stronger for the dollar, for many other cross currencies as well. There are a couple of stop run levels here clustered already. It looks very constructive, the daily, for making a move low. We've got here, there's another stop run level, so another important level on the daily. It looks good, I think, for some volatility coming to the market. So we saw a couple of 240 bars that are really looking bearish, and I'm expecting actually this market, this type of bars, that we see those in the future as well. So I'm rather looking for some price activity like this here, these down moves, or these down moves, or these down moves, to continue into the next 1 or 2 weeks. I'm not only referring to the dollar crosses here. For example, it's the euro odd as well. Here we're in a sideways range for the last couple of months. I'm actually seeing this to roll over, of getting a euro weakness basically, and even against the Australian dollar. So the daily here as well is in a sideways range. It's setting up really nicely for this move here, potentially this move to happen. So so we're looking for a lot of euro weakness, or there are going to be the EU elections end of May, like in a month. And we might get some political chaos, and we'll see what happens with the euro. But the euro doesn't look like being well positioned. It's not positioned for strength. Despite being stronger, the Australian dollar against the euro, it looks very weak against the US dollar. So that's the odd US dollar. Here as well, we're in this half-year sideways range. It seems like this is another test. We had a test of the 200 here on the daily. There's another test. Another test of the 21 on the weekly. So this is going to, I think, these consolidations are going to end soon. And well, you have stop run levels here. So if it starts running, it might develop nice momentum. We might see, well, this is the measured move. We might see Australian dollar weakness against the dollar in that, of this extent. So basically, what we see, we might see a dollar strength against the euro and the Australian dollar, but the euro seems to be even weaker than the Australian dollar. So we might actually see a kind of a collapse of the euro during the next couple of months. The US CAD is pretty nicely set up for a move higher. So for US dollar strength against CAD weakness. We're clearly in an uptrend on the weekly. We're here. We have very compressed volatility at the moving averages. We've got another test of the 21 small bars. Here on the well, I like the 240 minute. We kind of we formed an S2 pattern, and well, that's a clear area of resistance. If we're able to leave out of this area, so if we're breaking the wick high, we've got a double top. So if we're breaking out of this level, we might actually see a quick and extended move higher. And I'm looking at something similar, measured move of this extent, and we've got a number of stop run levels clustered here on the daily. So this might be, the US CAD might be one of the best moving pairs in the next coming or 4 weeks actually. Right, so this is a view on the cryptocurrency market. Let's start with the biggest coin, which is the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is actually determining the mood of the cryptocurrency market, and it has a big market capitalization. I think it's well above 50% of the whole market of the whole crypto coins. There are more than 2,000 around. And the cryptocurrency market as such, in its totality, works pretty well with the patterns. So I don't know why, but the S1, the busted breakout pattern, comes up pretty frequently, and the S2 pattern comes up quite a lot too. For the system 3, well, I don't want to apply for risk reasons. System 3, because it requires a very tight stop. I'm basically being much looser with our risk here on the cryptocurrencies to not be exposed to too much risk. Just to give you a glance on the patterns that came up here, that's a 240-minute chart, and I'm basically trading the 240, 60 daily and weekly charts. I'm more focusing here on the higher time frames on the cryptos. So this was an S1 pattern that had developed here, and there was another, that's an S2 pattern, but that's on a lower time frame in the 60-minute. There's another S1 pattern here in the middle, but on one lower time frame, the 60-minute. Here is an S1 pattern on this time frame, and not very clear one, but it's one that has triggered basically, and it looks very bullish. But we're in a very early stage of a potential resumption of an uptrend. So we had this big uptrend, that's a weekly chart, with a spike into the $20,000 level of Bitcoin, and since then it has consolidated kind of 90%. So 90% consolidations are not unusual in the cryptocurrency market. So this is normal business there. And what we have found here support at this line clearly. This is an important level at around the 6,000 level. And once this was broken, we saw a big move lower. And then prices have stabilized themselves below the 200 moving average, and have been actually able to break above. We see a big bar, the green bar, that was been able to close high on the weekly. So we have 2 weeks now in consolidation mode. Well, this overall pattern is a busted breakout pattern in itself. That's a pattern, like if this level gets rebroken, and I would actually want to wait for a close of a weekly bar above this level. This would trigger a busted breakout system 1 trade long on the weekly chart. So as long as we don't actually re-break this level with the weekly bar close, I'm not fully convinced that we actually have ended this long consolidation. We might still see lower lows towards the $2,000 level, because what we have here, this consolidation is a busted pattern too, but it's a short pattern, right? We have clearly a number of touches. Well, that's a pattern on the daily chart. We can see here on the weekly how it developed. So this might actually be the breakout bar, and if we get a re-break below this red line, well, this would be actually the indication the consolidation has not ended here, and then we're going to see new lows. So this would create panic in the market. I'm not in. Well, I would actually love to see that. We will see lower lows towards the 2,000 level, but this might be it. Like this is we're in a very early stage. We've got the first zigzag. It's a very early stage of an uptrend. We might actually from here, it can go both ways. Either we resume this uptrend and we're going to make new highs sooner or later, like during this year or next year, or we're actually making new lows. So we're kind of in no man's land right now. We're squeezed between these two levels, the green level and the red level. And whatever happens, yeah, this is what I'm going with. So I'm waiting for the market to show me where it wants to go, which doesn't keep me away from actually taking trades on lower time frames, the 40-minute chart. So I'm currently set long for actually being able to trade this move towards the green line. The green line acts as a magnet now. I'm actually expecting, yeah, for the next one, for the coming week, to see another big green bar as we've seen here before, weeks ago, and I'm happy to benefit from that and then see how actually the price reacts towards this important level. So whenever Bitcoin gives me a bullish bias, I'm actually looking for other altcoins as well. Going long, because Bitcoin sets the tone of the cryptocurrency market. So let's have a look here at Ethereum. Ethereum here on the bottom right monthly chart, well, it has consolidated, all the altcoins consolidated around 95%. So it's a huge pullback. And as you can see here on the weekly chart, well, after this pullback, we've got a first zigzag. The first zigzag means we've got a higher low and a higher high established by this wick. This is higher than this one. And we've got another zigzag. So we're currently we're in a very early stage of an uptrend. And I'm obviously interested in Ethereum as well, especially because yeah, Bitcoin looks bullish. I think Ethereum has the best chances of increasing well once Bitcoin actually is able to move higher. Ethereum has been able here to, this is an important level of price resistance. We've got several touches at this level. So Bitcoin has been able to actually yeah, increase higher, leaving this consolidation yeah, channel basically. So we've broken higher. We've touched the 200 here on the daily, and we came back actually to test this resistance level. So this resistance has become support now, and if Bitcoin moves higher, well, Ethereum will move with it. And we might actually see some stop run levels are set up already that act as magnets. So Ethereum might actually move nicely into the 250 area from here if the conditions are fulfilled. So there was an S2 pattern, pretty clear S2 pattern that has triggered, and going one time frame lower, the 240. Where we clearly see yeah, a busted railroad pattern S1 that has triggered already here with the stop down there. Well, I'm actually not using stops in that sense with the cryptocurrency. I'm basically yeah, I'm being fine with the coin getting to zero. And my stop is basically what I invest into the currency. But whenever this level gets yeah, threatened, and if price moves lower, well, then I'm actually exiting, taking out my investments out of this coin. Let's have a look at Litecoin on the weekly chart. So Litecoin actually yeah, moved a lot during this recent upswing, and you can see how prices can actually, once they come back that violently, or that there can be a violent upspike, and that's what Litecoin actually did. There were a couple of patterns here along the way on lower time frames, mainly S1 patterns. And currently, well, this is another S1 pattern setting up, and it's actually transformed into an S2 pattern. So yeah, as well, Litecoin is setting up for another move higher. We're in a beautiful and smooth uptrend the daily, and we might actually see another spike higher for Litecoin. Bitcoin Cash is another macro crypto cap. Looks similar as Litecoin. So we have an S1 pattern here on the 240 that has already triggered, and within that S1 we've got another S1. So it's a pattern within a pattern. And while it's always risky to take the small pattern, I prefer to take the overall pattern, right, with the mental stop down here. So as well the Bitcoin Cash has shown a lot of strength. It has broken the 200 SMA on the daily, and price is actually strong enough to remain above the 200. So 200 acts as support, Now the 8 acts as support, so the bulls are very strong. We might see as well here another spike, and higher. As we can see here, Bitcoin Cash from 133, but it has basically doubled within this up spike move. And out of this consolidation, there might be a measured move. So there's a potential another doubling of Bitcoin Cash. Right? So let's go to Ripple. Ripple is an interesting pair. Ripple has not been doing well so far. So Ripple is kind of still stuck, clearly stuck in this downwards consolidation. It's finding resistance or support in this overall downtrend at the 200 moving average. And it has actually created a short busted pattern, as you can see here on the dailies. This is a short busted pattern. So this is the weakest of the macro caps, the Ripple, the XRP, and this is kind of, for me, the early warning crypto. If this actually decisively closes below the red line, this would be the early warning signal that that we're not seeing any upwards move in Bitcoin and the other coins, that we actually see a continuation of the recent consolidation. So I'm keeping a close eye on this one. If it makes a new low, well then I'm basically wanting to get out of my crypto investment so far and reaping the profits I hold. Or if it actually moves higher, well then this gets invalidated, this busted pattern short, and I'm much more positive for seeing another leg up. So this is it basically. Cryptocurrencies, it's a completely different world, but as you can see, actually investing, but as you can see doing the chart analysis, it's no difference. You can apply the systems like system 1 and system 2 specifically, with the same rules here on the cryptocurrency market. These are currencies, so they're moving much faster, but the charts are analyzed in the same way. So I hope that was of interest.